Welcome back. I'm Bethany. I'm redesigning my portfolio in the next month so that I can apply to jobs after I graduate from grad school. I'm documenting each step of the process to keep myself accountable and hopefully help other designers who are also working on their portfolios. So last week I did research. This week I'm writing the content for my case studies and my about page. Let's get started. I started by listing out all of the projects that I've worked on that I know fulfill the senior product designer criteria I found last week in my research phase. So I'm going to choose projects that showcase my skills as an effective cross-disciplinary collaborator and facilitator. Projects should show my ability to execute high craft detail work while also considering the big picture. My end-to-end process, emphasizing user and business impact through quantitative and qualitative data. So I listed out about 10 projects that I've worked on, and then I selected 4 to 6 that spoke to my criteria best. I'm also selecting a few personal projects to put in a personal project section in my portfolio, separate from my professional work. Okay, now I'm gonna write case studies for each. I saw someone share a great rule of thumb for case study content, and I'm gonna share it with you now. So, show that I, 1, delivered, 2, something interesting, 3, through a process, 4, with others, 5, at scale. With that in mind, I use Google Docs to outline. I'm starting with the core things I want to say about each project that maps to previously noted core skills I want to highlight. Then I'm building up detail. My current portfolio case studies are essays of process. That was good in like 2018, 2019 when a deep dive in process was kind of considered best practice. Today, it's better not to write paragraphs and paragraphs of text, just hit the important points. So 95% of people won't want to know the details beyond what I built, what role I played, and what the end result was in business and user impact. The specifics of how I got there is for people who are seriously considering bringing me on their team, and they'll want to know my process, and that's better explained in the interviews. I have visuals in mind, but I'm not making them yet. You could build a narrative with assets first, but I prefer to create the narrative and pull assets based on that narrative. The assets I choose are going to provide some visual pizzazz, but also visual proof of the work that I did and the impact that it had. I'm considering what assets I have access to craft my narrative. For example, I had a ton of wireframing and process work in Whimsical at my last job, and then I forgot to pull screenshots of that work in Whimsical before I left the job. But I did pull some presentations before I left, so I will make do with what assets that I have. I also wrote some content for my about page. Again, I'm mapping the criteria that I know jobs are looking for, but also I'm leaning a little bit more into personal narrative because I want my personality to shine more here. I have a summary, what I'm working on now, skills, maybe a couple testimonials, values, education, and experience. The values piece in particular is something I've seen in other people's websites that I really wanted to bring into my website. All right, now I have a draft of my website's content. It's just a draft. I'm going to pull it in to Figma and also into Webflow, and I'm going to tweak it there to make sure that I have a cohesive narrative. But for now, I'm going to start pulling assets and move on to the next phase, the design and the build.